It's not a secret if you've been on this podcast for a while that leadership is definitely something that I value, a hot topic. If you're brand new, you will come to find that out. Leadership is something that I am obsessed with, and rightfully so. When people hear the word influencer or leadership or something, they think of the government. They typically think of some type of leader, and I put air quotes, that has abused their power because we're so used to seeing leadership abuse their power, be more dictatorship, followship, just do what I do. And that's not true leadership. True leadership is leading by example. Truly. When you think of Christ, the best leader to ever walk the earth, he didn't condemn people, he didn't make people feel bad. He spoke truth in love boldly. And one of the things that I've really been talking about lately amongst friends and then just other guests on podcasts is Jesus was a sniper when it came to certain responses. Like when I dig into scripture, I'm like, that was sniper status. Like just boom, direct to the point, knew exactly where to go, perfectly executed. And I always think about how can I be more like that? How can I be more like that in my approach on how I serve people, how I lead people? And how long ago was it now? Maybe like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, the Lord gave me a word, yearning. And that word was specifically for the world yearning for true, real, raw, genuine leaders that really want to see people rise up to the occasion, rise up into their purpose, just be the person that God has called them to be. So many of us just get stuck. We're like, oh, our circumstances, give that lordship. Oh, the government and the fear it produces, lordship. Media and the fear it produces, lordship. The whatever's going on in my life, lordship. Rather than giving the one and only, the Alpha and Omega lordship. Now, you might be on this podcast and maybe you aren't a believer. Maybe you haven't accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And, I definitely want to send an invitation to you to just have your heart and mind be open, because how a lot of the world has portrayed Christianity and who Christ really is not right at all. Like, people are so stuck in religion that they miss the relationship on what Christ can truly give us and what we can obviously give in return as being a vessel for him on this earth. Because when you think about what you're good at, for example, if you're great at investment, if you're great at strategy, if you're great at business, if you're great at homemaking, crafts, if you're great at organization, if you're passionate and great at, fitness or something like that, those are things that God's put in your heart, and those are places of ministry on how you can be an example to other people and do that in excellence. Now, the thing with leadership is I can't say most, a lot of the circles I run into and just being in the personal development space for a long time, leadership is something where everybody wants the title. They want the stage, they want the mic, they want the prestige, but they don't want to do the hard work it gets there. The hard conversations, the talking to somebody when they're doing something that isn't in alignment, the making space for somebody, creating spaces for people to mess up, and that's okay, right? Rather than condemning them. There's a lot of condemnation. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Now, there is space for correction and feedback, but we're so used to condemnation, we're so used to criticism. And truthfully, like, the world needs less critics and more people to love on people where they're at, but call them higher. I think about the government. And I think about just what the government portrays, right? Yes, there is an institution that's trying to govern a country or a state or a city. But so often it comes down to dollars and cents rather than truly leading people. And I understand that's a business too. I fully get that. But that business is in the business of instilling fear in people. Right now, I see the government in business of making no sense at all. It's like, make that make sense. Talking about genders, talking about where they're putting money, talking about the debt that this country's in, but that yet we get penalized on credit cards left, right, sideways if we don't know how to use them correctly, which we should know how to use them correctly. But we're getting advice from a country that's trillions of dollars in debt. You want to call that leadership? You want to call that good stewardship? There's so many people that call themselves leaders, but look how they steward the things in their hands. Their relationships, their gifts, their finances. There's a lot of people that want to call themselves leaders, but they lack stewardship. Now, stewardship's a whole nother conversation. We can dive in really deep on that another time. The leadership piece that I really want to camp on is being a true leader means being in the trenches with people. It means loving people where they're at and calling them higher. Boldly speaking truth in love to them. Now, let's stop here for a second. A lot of people want to speak truth, but they're not speaking it in love. It's not coming from a loving place. I remember when I really just was that bold truth speaker and it never came off right. People usually got offended. And I'm like, I'm just trying to tell them the truth because I care about them. But I realized my heart posture had to change. My delivery sometimes had to change. So in order for people to catch what I was saying, even if my delivery quite didn't match up, and it's gotten better over time, it was, I hope you hear my heart on this. Fill in the blank and share it with them. That way their walls come down. They know I'm coming from a loving place, and I'm trying to show them something that maybe they couldn't see for themselves. Now, being a true leader is very difficult. Very difficult. You see a lot of potential. You see a lot of holes on things. You see a lot that most people don't. But are you going to stay by that person? Are you going to stick with them? Now, the other person or people or group or organization that you're trying to lead, they have to play their part. They have to play their part. It's like a game of tennis. You hit the ball back. You hit the ball, they hit the ball back. But you as a leader have to stand in the gap. You have to stand for them where they obviously can't stand for themselves, even if they don't realize it. Family members, friends, colleagues, business partners. Like, that is true leadership. And no matter what they say and how they spin it on you, get to stand for them. You get to stand for them. Now, there are times where, it's time to part ways. And the Lord will reveal that to you. But people part ways way too soon when it's not easy. When people aren't doing what they say they're going to do. Which, newsflash, most people don't. Most people don't have the discipline. But you know what that tells me? There's something missing inside of themselves of how they view themselves. Guess what? A leader can see that. They can pull that out. You know what, Stacy? You've been telling me that you've really wanted to do this, and here are your goals. What's blocking you? What's blocking you? It's usually a mindset game. 9 times out of 10, almost a 10 out of 10, it's a mindset game of the enemy's thoughts coming in there, your own thoughts, your own self-belief. But usually it's an incongruency or a disconnect on how people view themselves as to why they don't do the things that they're going to do. A true leader would know that and would jump in the trenches and set up time for that. Now, one of the things in network marketing in our industry, because we're in the industry of network marketing, is a lot of people want to slam out messages. Boom, 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 boom. And they want to be able to, attract the masses, right? And that's the beautiful thing about the model is that you can help the masses in a very simple way. But the missing key is a lot of people want to do relationship building in the DMs, in a text message, something quick and convenient for them. It's not always that simple. If somebody tells me what they want, but then they're not putting in the action, and I've reached out maybe a few times, then I'm going to say, hey, let's get on a quick call. Because then I can actually get on a call, use my discernment, ask the Lord for wisdom on how to lead this person, and lead them and show them a better way. Now, they have to get into action. But I took the time. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. And if you truly want to lead people, you have to take the time. I hear people that would call themselves leaders all the time. Oh, I don't want to make time for this call and that call and to lead that person. Then you actually don't want to lead. Go do something else. This isn't for you. The takeaway. I'm going to take it away. I'm going to be like, this isn't for you. Go do something else. Because if you want the title, the responsibility, the prestige, all of that of leadership, which by the way has nothing to do with us and everything to do with God getting the glory because he's facilitating through us. That's a whole other word in and of itself that people need to wake up to. Just saying. Most people can't do it. And I say can't, like realistically. They can't. They won't. They don't want to. Because they don't want to do what it takes. They just don't. They just don't. I remember in my early stages in business and network marketing, that's how I got started in entrepreneurship. I was praying just for those leaders to come in, leaders to come in, leaders to come in. And why? Because I'm like, that would just make my job a whole lot easier. But guess what? If there were more leaders trained and built, we would have more success stories, more earners, more freedom, like other people all around the world, not just the select few. I remember the first time I heard in network marketing that if you made over $2,000 a month, you're in the top 2%. I was like, that is the saddest thing I have ever heard. Ever heard. I got in the top 2% of network marketing very quickly because I was like, 2,000. I was like, that is sad. I was like, where's the gumption? Where's the desire? Where's the drive? Well, can't expect me out of other people. Like, I have trained myself to do those things. If I want it, I'm going to go get it. I could do other things. I can make other choices, but I want certain things in my life. I want certain outcomes, certain lifestyle, a certain impact. An example. I love saying this, for all my believers out there, like, Christ came to this earth to serve. And he died for nothing less than excellence. So why are we settling for anything less? Seriously. And if you're not a believer, why would you settle for anything less than excellence? Like, what's the point? What's the benefit? Logically, what is the benefit? There is none. There absolutely is none, but it will be harder. It will be harder. If you just want to do the same old same, you're going to keep getting the same old same. Ugh, I hate the same old same. I'm always looking at like, what was yesterday like? Okay, that was great. How can I be better today? Every day. For some people, that's exhausting. And trust me, there's some days where I'm like, nope, I'm laying here. I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm not doing anything. I'm chilling. I'm tired. Right? You have those days. But I'm also like, as a leader, I know it's my responsibility in my own time, on my own merit, to be like, how can I get better for the people around me? Because everything I do has an impact on other people. I have a buddy at the gym, and I met somebody new at the gym today. I've seen him, and I, gave him knuckles. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Just making side conversation. These two guys were talking, and they were like, hey, have you met Molly? They're like, yeah, I've met Molly. Like, I talk to her all the time. And the guy that I talked to, a friend of mine, every morning after the gym at like 5 a.m., we get in deep conversations. Spiritual, intellectual, professional, you name it. So many great conversations. I tell him, I'm like, you're the doppelganger of my husband, but older. It's hilarious to me. Super cool guy. Well, this guy told somebody else at the gym, the one thing about Molly that I like the most, that really stands out to me, is she is a woman after God's own heart. A stranger at the gym told another dude at the gym that. The guy's like, really? Wow, that is crazy. I could tell she's a really cool chick, but wow. Like the first thing that this person says, I was like, that is the best compliment I have ever received. Hands down. Ever received. That your experience from me is that you can see God's heart. Thank you. Thank you. Because out of who you're being, out of how you're leading, what comes out of your mouth, what you do with your actions, you are always showing somebody something. Always. What are you showing them in your actions today? And how you're leading today? Whether it's yourself, you have a family, you have a team, an organization, a spouse, friends. There's so many ways that you can lead. And a lot of people just preserve that for, I'm on stage talking and leading hundreds of thousands of people. Leadership is everywhere. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What am I giving lordship to in my life? What am I giving lordship to? Is it truly Jesus? Is it money? Is it prestige? Is it fame? Is it your body? Is it your family, your spouse? Is it your home, your possessions? Truly. Like whatever's the tippy top on the top of your mind 24/7, that's what you give lordship to. And I remember a couple years ago, I got convicted that it was money. I got convicted it was money for me. And I had to repent right then and there for years. And then I come to find out over just talking with my mom and talking and digging into my quiet time with the Lord that security in money is a generational thing. From at least my grandpa to my mom to us. And I'm like, well, no wonder it was so freaking hard to break. It's because it's come down in the bloodline, ingrained in the bloodline, and that's where we put our security in. rather than to the one who actually provides for us, can give us wisdom to give us whatever we want. And I was like, dang, I felt convicted, so convicted. And now I can see in other people a lot of the time, usually within the first 5 minutes of talking to them, where their security lies. For sure. For sure. In their looks, in their money, in their car, in their whatever. Whatever. And so it's just so wild to me when you ask the Lord, give me eyes to see how you see them, you will see a lot. You will see a lot. But it's also a blessing. It's like, Lord, how can I serve this person? That's leadership. It's not focused on self. True leaders are here to serve, not be served. But the world has flipped that on its head. The world says, I'm on stage, you serve me. I'm here, you look up to me. You give me what I need, and you just sit there and just be there for my enjoyment, rather than let me try to serve you. Now, they will say, I'm here to serve you. They will say, I'm doing this for impact. But a lot of people, if you truly lean in with discernment, and you can sometimes look at their fruit and see it, it's like they're there for themselves, not for other people. But they wrap it up in a bow and call it impact. I used to do that. For the sake of impact. Man, I was there for myself and how I looked. That's real. And hopefully some of y'all will have some of those realizations, because I pray as time goes on, more leaders really do emerge. And that's why in our company at Kingdom Alliance, like, we are obsessed with leadership and helping actually produce and grow and build leaders, because the world needs it. And you need an environment to do it and see it done the right way. And if that's something you want to do, you can click the link below. You can definitely check it out at girlpoweralliance.com. Soon to be Kingdom Alliance, as we're merging with men. It's amazing to see what's happening here. But leadership is a big thing. And it's time for a leader shift right now. We need a leader shift in leadership ASAP. And God's calling it in. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode, and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.